Welcome to Wacky. Tune in, we lift your mind. News, culture, history, facts with a shine. Rap the bandit on the mic, truth in the lines. Every episode away, ride the clock. Every episode away, ride the clock. High alerts on deck, your safety first call. What's strong, what's wrong, watch out, don't fall. Tips for the session so your crew stay right. Smart lungs, clear heads, keep it safe tonight. Breaking news, laws change, we keep score. From bills to rights, what passed, what's in store. State to state, run down, know before you buy. Stay legal, stay sharp, keep your head high. Train spotlight with highway rock. Strange spotlight when the turf talk knock. Highway rock in the lab, let the flavor unlock. Origins, effects, what fits your day. Body or brain wave, we guide the way. Cooking with cannabis, chef up the butter, low temp that flame. Doses on point, so the vibe stay tame. Savory to sweet, sweet plate that bliss. Measure and fuse, can't miss with this. Measure and fuse, can't miss with this.
Welcome my Wacky smokers, welcome back to the Wacky Leaf channel where we talk all things cannabis related. I am your host, Rap the Bandit. And because we talk all things cannabis related, disclaimer about to pop up. All right, let's make sure we take time out to thank our sponsors, Sterling Empire LLC, an arts and entertainment company, and Sterling Graphics, custom art and design.
Sterling Graphics, custom art and design. Whatever you want, we can do it. Sterling Graphics. Forever you want, we can do it.
Okay, everybody, we got a lot of news updates today. All right, today high alerts. We have Tennessee lawmakers reignite marijuana policies. Also, gun bans for marijuana users. Well, we're going to have another update on that one. So the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court ruled on that. We also have marijuana policy, what the federal marijuana policy shift means for cannabis use and research. And we also have Trump signs order easing marijuana restrictions. On Cooking with Cannabis, we have Chef Cody, and on cannabis culture and history, we have Virginia marijuana dispensary. What we know, what's next, and what's changing. And on Strange Spotlight, we have making a new strand, how to breed cannabis. Yeah. Still gonna bring you the grow episode. And I know cooking with, okay, we did that. All right. The song of the day will be Touch the Sky, the 420 remix. Wacky Leaf 420 remix. That's today's high alerts. How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen, my wacky smokers? Today is Saturday, right? Saturday? Yeah. Today's Saturday. All right, we about to start the show. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we had the disclaimer popped up, but y'all know This is for 18 and older, or of legal age, or wherever you reside at. Um, this is for entertainment and educational content. We do not sell cannabis. Do not link illegal sellers. Uh, Follow local laws. Consume responsibly. Consult or get with a qualified professional before indulging in marijuana or related products. Also, drive or use machinery while impaired. Nothing here is medical, legal, or financial advice. Please, paid features are / sponsorship are clearly disclosed. Uh, some links will be affiliated and may earn us some extra commission to no extra cost to you. All images, reviews, and videos are under license or used with permission and are owned by the provider. Again, everything brought to you by us is owned by the provider. Opinions are our own. Opinions are our own. I think that was everything. As much as I be saying, and I should have an idea of basically what it is. But that's our disclaimer. Let's get straight to the news, y'all. All right. We got Tennessee. Tennessee lawmakers reignite marijuana politics. Policies. Rolling.
New tonight, state lawmakers from both parties once again debating marijuana policies at the state capitol.
Now this after the Trump administration reclassified how marijuana is viewed as a drug nationwide. Fox 17 News' Hope Salmon's live downtown outside the state capitol with what these bills could mean for the marijuana laws here in Tennessee.
Scott, the topic of marijuana is once again a hot button topic, and now both Republicans and Democrats have ideas of how to change the way that marijuana is handled in the state. Tennessee lawmakers are revisiting the issue of marijuana this legislative session with bills that could lay the groundwork for marijuana use in the state. State Representative Antonio Parkinson says he wants to allow Tennesseans to grow marijuana on their property. He's calling it the Freedom to Farm Act.
It's for whatever their personal use is. We don't want to know, and the government does not need to know.
If passed, the legislation would allow one adult in each household to grow 15 marijuana plants on their property.
It is not to be sold. It is not to be bartered. It is not to be taken off that property. If it's taken off that property, or if you're caught selling it, then you will be subject to all of the existing criminal marijuana laws that exist right now.
Republican Senator Farrell Hale of Gallatin introduced his own legislation that, if passed, would require the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations to conduct a comprehensive study on how a medical marijuana program could be created in Tennessee. The proposal comes just weeks after President Trump announced the federal government plans to begin the process of reclassifying marijuana into a less serious drug category, a move that could make it easier for states to enact their own reforms. Senator Mark Pody shared his thoughts on legalizing medical marijuana with Fox 17 a few weeks ago after President Trump reclassified cannabis.
I think it's going to help us with not only the health, but those that have been incarcerated.
Okay, that's what's going on in Tennessee, y'all. Leave your questions and your comments down low. And if you're in Tennessee, give us a like. Let your Tennesseans know about the Wacky Leaf channel. Bring them on over. All right, let's move on to the next news topic, and it's an update more on the gun ban for marijuana smokers and stuff. So roll it.
Welcome back. For nearly 60 years, the possession of guns by users of illegal drugs have been banned by federal law. The Trump administration says it's essential for public safety. Next week, the Supreme Court is considering whether that ban is unconstitutionally broad. It's a high-stakes case involving marijuana and the states that have legalized it in some form. Our Devin Dwyer has a closer look at the case and growing debate over whether cannabis should get a carve-out in gun law.
In the foothills of Pennsylvania's Allegheny Mountains, oil and forestry are big business, Donald Trump is big politics, and for hunters like Rob Green, guns are a big part of local culture.
If you don't support the Second Amendment in Warren County, you probably should leave.
Green is an Army veteran and father of 3, and until earlier this year was the top law enforcement official in the county for more than a decade.
Most crimes that we prosecuted involved drugs or alcohol. I mean, that's a good 85 to 90%.
He also happens to be a user of cannabis, one of 440,000 Pennsylvanians with a state-authorized medical marijuana card.
So how often do you use?
When I was the DA, once or twice every week or two, maybe once a week on an average would be good. I'm not a daily user.
Does marijuana serve a medical purpose for you?
Yes. Yes, if it did not, I would not be able to get a medical marijuana card.
Marijuana as medical treatment has been legal here since 2016, but consuming cannabis also comes with what Green calls an unconstitutional cost.
As of right now, I have 0 firearms.
And why is that?
I could serve 10 years in prison for having a firearm because I am, according to the feds, an illegal user of marijuana. I mean, it's bull.
Congress has prohibited the feds from cracking down on state medical marijuana programs, and President Trump recently signed an executive order loosening restrictions.
It's an honor to do this.
But cannabis is still banned under federal law. And that means 6 million registered medical marijuana patients across 40 states must surrender their Second Amendment right to own a gun, even when they're not under the influence. Pennsylvania gun dealer Tim Parker says the law is still the law.
We have a sign on the outside of the door. We do not like people that smell like marijuana coming into our shop. A lot of times they tell us that they have a license or a marijuana card, and they're legally allowed to have it. I said, well, you're not allowed to come in here. We will not sell you anything.
Parker showed us how gun buyers must attest on a federal form under threat of felony prosecution that they don't use marijuana or any other illegal drug.
So if you check yes, it's an automatic no
correct,
purchase.
Because the federal law, even though in the state of Pennsylvania they made medical marijuana legal, the federal law still mandates that we cannot sell you a firearm.
Since 1998, the FBI says countless drug users have been turned away by gun dealers because of that form, in addition to more than 240,000 customers flagged for drug-related convictions by the background check system. The Trump administration calls the gun ban for drug users a cornerstone of public safety.
Those are the kind of people that shouldn't be carrying a gun because it's all split-second things, and a gun doesn't think for itself. Guns don't kill people. People kill people, not guns.
This is our gun room.
The potential dangers of combining drugs and guns is apparent inside the City of Erie Police Department gun vault, lined with boxes of 700 firearms confiscated in crimes since 2023.
How many of these guns would be associated with drugs?
I mean, so 170-ish that we took them and confiscated them with drugs, but I would probably guess 70% of these probably were involved in the drug trade.
Had some connection
Had
to
some
drugs.
connection, yeah.
Police Chief Richard Laura says medical marijuana is not a top threat, but does pose a danger when combined with guns.
We don't want someone who's under the influence of alcohol or methamphetamine or cocaine or marijuana to be handling a firearm. Obviously, there's some safety issues there.
The Justice Department says it prosecutes 300 cases a year in which a violation of the drug user gun ban was the leading charge. One recent high-profile case involved Hunter Biden, a self-confessed recovering crack cocaine addict who was charged with lying on the federal gun transaction form and obtaining a firearm. So was Ali Hamani of Texas, who the government says admitted to using marijuana every other day while keeping a Glock 9mm pistol in his home. But a federal court said the ban enacted by Congress in 1968 is too broad and unconstitutional as applied.
And it's unconstitutional because, and we're talking about a statute that renders it a felony for a person who is a consumer of cannabis to possess a firearm, whether they're sober or intoxicated, no matter what.
The Himani decision spawned a rare alliance. The Trump administration, gun safety advocates, and anti-drug groups now appealing to the Supreme Court to hold the line. They say a ban on guns for people who use illegal drugs, including medical marijuana, is rooted in the nation's history.
Back to the days of the founding, we had laws about intoxication and severe intoxication, even surrounding things like alcohol.
And they point out marijuana use has been linked to perpetrators of some of the country's deadliest mass shootings, like the attack in Minnesota last year at the Annunciation Catholic School.
It's not to say that everyone who smokes marijuana is going to have cannabis-induced psychosis, or even the vast majority.
Right.
But we need a bright line rule here to prevent against the worst possible scenarios that could occur.
I do agree there are certain circumstances where people should not be able to own firearms.
But Green says the dangers of marijuana are overblown.
Cannabis has helped me in a number of ways. I mean, it helps me immensely. It's helped out of a lot of other people. And it has hurt me in zero ways. Are there certain drugs that are so dangerous and addictive that it's not safe for you to have a firearm? Sure. Marijuana is not one of them.
That's some bullshit. It's just like the smoking and driving. It's all on the person, man. Like, guns don't kill people. Stupid people with guns kill people. So, whether that be a weed head, cokehead, whatever. So you telling me a cokehead has more rights to a gun than somebody who smokes pot? Make it make sense. So you telling me somebody on heroin, like, make it make sense. Like, anyway, leave your questions and your comments down low. Tell me how you feel, guys. This one should be interesting because this is a load of crap. If you're a gun owner and tell me how this makes you feel. Because this is some bullshit. I don't know any other way to put it. This is some bullshit. This is some bull doodle. I totally disagree. If you disagree, leave your comments down low in the comment section. Let's get on to the third news update. That was a load of crap. I totally disagree with that one. That was a load of crap. Hopefully Congress nip that in the bud, get rid of that one, toss that one out. I mean Supreme Court. Okay, the next one is what the federal marijuana policy shift means for cannabis use and research. Hopefully this is some better news.
President Trump signed an executive order today reclassifying the federal status of marijuana, categorizing it as a drug with less potential for harm and dependence.
It's a major shift in policy that could have wide-ranging effects on cannabis use and research. William Brangham joins us now with more.
That's right. For many years, marijuana was a Schedule I drug in a category with heroin and LSD, meaning the government considered it dangerous to use with no medical benefits. Today's move will slide marijuana down into Schedule III with drugs like Tylenol with codeine and testosterone. While this doesn't legalize marijuana, this shift would allow for greater research about the drug, which is something President Trump touted during his announcement today.
This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe.
So for more on this policy shift, we are joined again by Bo Kilmer. He's with the RAND Drug Policy Research Center. Bo, thank you so much for being here again. Let's walk through some of the impacts of this shift. The first one being research. We just heard the president say this is going to open up the floodgates for new scientific research. Is that true? What kind of research will they be doing? What kind of questions might scientists be asking?
Yeah, well, so you can do research on Schedule I drugs, but there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of hoops you need to jump through. So traditionally, when you would move from a Schedule I to a Schedule III drug, it would mean less bureaucracy to deal with, and it should increase access to research. However, the Congressional Research Service put out a report last year saying that because of a law, that they didn't think that rescheduling cannabis was actually going to have that much of an effect on research because of this bill that had already been signed into law. Now, look, on the margins, this could increase access for research, and maybe it will reduce the stigma for some researchers. But the bigger question I have is who's going to pay for the research? Typically, the National Institutes of Health would support a lot of this research, as trying to figure out the benefits and the risks associated with cannabis. And so the question is will NIH continue to fund this research? Will they prioritize it? Will they put more money into it? That, to me, is the bigger question.
And what do you think any other major shifts this categorization change might trigger?
Oh, it's going to make some cannabis companies a lot richer. As part of the federal tax code, there's a section called 280E. And essentially what this part of the code requires is that if you are trafficking in a Schedule I or a Schedule II drug, you can't claim normal business exemptions on your federal taxes. And so that means there's quite a burden for these cannabis companies. But by moving cannabis from Schedule I to Schedule III, that 280E part of the tax code no longer applies. So the cannabis companies are going to be very happy with this shift.
President Trump today said he didn't want this to be seen as condoning the use of marijuana, which he kept saying is bad, kids don't do it. Do we know if that is true? I mean, we've had all these states legalizing recreational marijuana. Do we know, is it a net benefit to society? Are there downstream health impacts?
Yes. I mean, we're still learning a lot about the products that are being sold in stores. That is, most of the health research that goes on with respect to cannabis isn't necessarily focused on the products that you would get in the dispensaries. So there's a lot of research that still needs to be done in terms of the potential benefits as well as the risks.
Do you have a sense as to why this has taken so long? I mean, drug policy advocates have also argued for this for a long time. Many other administrations said they would get to this, never did. Are you surprised it happened during the Trump administration?
Well, look, I mean, people have been debating rescheduling in dorm rooms and dinner parties for decades. But it was actually during the Biden administration that they began to make this move toward rescheduling. And, there are two ways to reschedule drugs. You can either pass legislation or you could go through the executive agencies, and it requires input from the Department of Health and Human Services as well as the DEA. And so this process was started during the Biden administration. Health and Human Services put out this report, and then the DEA put into the Federal Register that they were going to be considering this. And then based on that, there was, I think, over 40,000 public comments. And then there were supposed to be some hearings. And then in theory, after those hearings, then the DEA would make a decision and then put that into the Federal Register. Well, over the past couple of years, things got really hung up with those hearings. So it's not entirely clear to me what's going to happen. Are we going to skip those and just go right to the DEA putting something into the Federal Register about it being reclassified to Schedule III? Or will there be hearings where policymakers as well as the public will hear more about the health implications of cannabis?
Is it your sense that this change might prompt more states to legalize recreational or medicinal use?
I don't know. I mean, we already have about 40 states that allow cannabis to be used for certain medical purposes, and about half the states have passed legalization for adult use. Moving from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, the big change there is to be a Schedule 3 drug, it means that the federal government actually recognizes that there's medical value. Now, whether or not that, that shift from 1 to 3 is enough to kind of move public sentiment, enough to where you're going to get more of these bills passed or initiatives passed in different states, I'm not entirely sure. But the thing to keep in mind is that this isn't going to legalize what's happening at the state level. I mean, everything you see with respect to medical legalization as well as adult use legalization, this is still all illegal under federal law. And just moving from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 doesn't necessarily, make these things and make any of this activity legal, in the eyes of the federal government.
All right, that is Bo Kilmer at the RAND Drug Policy Research Center. Bo, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, William.
Okay. This was good. Okay, good. All right. Trump says he don't want to condone it or whatever the case may be, but keep doing what you're doing, Trump, man, because you know what I'm saying? Legalize the thing. Shit. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Leave your questions and your comments down below. Tell me how you feel. Yeah. Hopefully we get to where we need to get so we could get our smoke on without the stress. All right. Okay. Is that all the news we have today? Hey, special news update, ladies and gentlemen. My wacky smokers, there seem to be some activity in Nebraska. They just finally legalized weed, but there's a huge catch.
So a traditionally prohibitionist state which recently legalized the good herb for medicinal purposes is facing tons of backlash and pressure amid recent controversy. Nebraska voters approved medical herb back in 2024, but as of today, nothing is rolled out. The program is still not operational. On top of that, Nebraska's Cannabis Commission is going crazy with wild regulations including plant production limits. And now things are heating up even more after an Omaha tribe became the first in Nebraska to legalize the good herb, and officials are threatening to prosecute people who buy herb on the tribal reservation and even calling it poison.
First Alert 6 continues to press local officials about medical marijuana.
Our Bella Caracta joins us live in the studio with the latest developments since her investigation last night about confusion over the new laws. Bella?
John, Aaron, when I spoke with Omaha Police and the city prosecutor's office last week, they had nothing new to offer about what they're going to do if they come across someone with medical marijuana and a written recommendation from a healthcare practitioner.
So as you guys can see, since the rollout of medical herb in Nebraska, it's been a bit of a problem. It seems like no one knows what's really happening and the official program has not been rolled out yet. And on top of that, the new Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission only met for the first time about 5 months ago. Have a look.
A new state board springs to life today. It's the Medical Cannabis Commission.
Well, during the legislative session, there were many failed attempts to create guardrails to regulate medical marijuana. Now the panel will have to chart its own course.
A new state body born today, but it won't have any time to take baby steps. The clock is ticking as that 1st of July deadline approaches. That's when medical marijuana regulations are supposed to be in place, and the commission says they'll work hard on making sure they stay on track. Murkiness reigns after the inaugural meeting of the state's Medical Cannabis Commission. That's the group that came into being after more than 2/3 of voters approved of legalizing and regulating medical marijuana. The team spent less than an hour covering the ground rules and planning for how they'll meet the tight deadlines ahead. And it all has to happen on a shoestring budget. $30,000 allotted to the commission, but that money can only be used for staffing. We're told they could borrow additional funds from the Liquor Control Commission.
So the Nebraska Cannabis Commission only met for the first time 5 months ago, and that's 1 month before these regulations were supposed to be put into place. So it really begs the question, what the heck is happening? And it seems to me that a lot of focus is being placed on the wrong things, because instead of getting the program set up, operational, and rolled out, they're focusing on limiting plant production instead. Check it out.
Well, less than a month until the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission is required to start handing out licenses, Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen is requiring changes of the commission. Pillen wants a limit on the number of plants to be grown in the state. After an emergency meeting Monday, the commission voted in favor of setting that limit at 1,250 plants at a time at any one business. Before Pillen's demand, commission members had made it clear that they did not intend to set a limit. The Cannabis Commission's next meeting is scheduled for September 30th.
So you guys can already see where this is heading. Regulation, regulation, and regulation. And in a situation where the Cannabis Commission is being pressured by the governor to put in place some of these restrictions, you guys can already see that's a prescription for trouble. And according to this next clip, they're saying it's life or death for many folks. And for that reason, they're going to be setting more regulations.
We begin at 6 with the latest in the effort to legalize medical marijuana in the state of Nebraska.
The clock is ticking for the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission. October 1st is when that group needs to start approving licenses to cultivate and sell medical marijuana products.
So they met today to talk about that and new regulations.
It was the first meeting with all 5 Medical Cannabis Commission members in attendance, and the first with clear dissent in their ranks. Disagreements over the allowance of vapes.
Basically, vaping effects within 1 to 3 minutes.
Everybody says vaping is not medicine. And if we have alternatives that are safer, like a tincture that also sublingual that's very fast, I don't know why we would go to something with all these potential side effects.
Commissioner Bruce Bailey pushed for more cannabis cultivator licenses across the state after the initial regulations called for just 2.
I can't imagine buying a farm and telling me I can't grow corn because my neighbor's growing it. So you need to look at that. And let the market bear what's going to happen. You won't grow more than you can sell.
So guys, when it comes to the Nebraska Cannabis Commission, there's a lot of issues that they need to iron out, in particular for this medical program to be rolled out properly. And as you guys would have heard in that last clip, last month the commission was tasked with rolling out some of those first licenses, and thankfully they did. Have a look.
Nearly a week past the initial deadline, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission has issued the state's first cultivator licenses. 4 licenses are allowed in the state. The Nebraska Examiner reports the first 2 licenses were issued Tuesday, one in Omaha, the other in Raymond. This comes despite reports that Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers would sue the commission if licenses were issued. I reached out to Hilgers' office Wednesday about where this stands. They had no comment. Last week, Krista Eggers with Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana told me there's a lack of listening to what Nebraskans voted for.
I feel very certain that we are going to face huge obstacles with patients actually getting their medicine, and that is not what voters intended. They were very, very clear in their mandate.
And that's a running theme that we see across multiple states. Voters make their voices clear, they make their voices heard, and they make what they want abundantly clear. The people want legalization, whether it's medical or rec. If they have a choice, they're gonna make their voices clear. And now we're seeing situations where the governor is actually trying to sue the commission for issuing these licenses. I mean, make it make sense. And on top of all of that, as a result of pressure from the governor, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission passed emergency regulations, which the governor then signed. Have a look.
New at 4:30, a local commission presenting the regulations for medical cannabis in Nebraska. This coming from a hearing today with Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission. Comments from the public on how medical marijuana should be regulated. A trove of regulations were considered, including restricting judicial districts to only one dispensary, adding a side effects label, and who can qualify for the license.
I do have concerns that in the future litigation could be brought specifically because it is violating what the people passed.
More news now on a story we have been closely following. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen approves a new batch of emergency regulations from the Medical Cannabis Commission.
Those rules have medical marijuana advocates sounding the alarm because of their limits on the supply chain.
KATV News Watch 7's Capitol Bureau Chief John Grinvalds has the details.
Governor Jim Pillen's signature on a new slate of regulations, what some are saying is the death knell of medical marijuana in Nebraska.
The nail in the coffin on a medical program ever getting started to where patients will see real access in this state.
A spokesperson with Pillen's office said in part in a release, quote, the governor had asked the commission to consider such a limitation to ensure that an excess of cannabis production would not lead to an unregulated and unintended black market supply. Krista Eggers had led the fight to get medical cannabis in front of voters for years, and she says this is another knock against what 71% of them approved.
To see the will of the people completely disregarded and tossed aside in the creation of these rules and regulations, there's really no words.
The commission decided last week to limit the total amount of cannabis cultivators in the state to 4. And this Monday, they capped the amount of flowering plants they could have to 1,250 each. So 5,000 total plants for an estimated patient population of 20,000.
I believe is going to completely dismantle the supply chain. The product will not be able to be grown. They will not be able to manufacture enough of it.
So you guys can see how this is a massive problem. And this has caused tons of backlash. As you guys can see right here, Nebraska medical supporters slam the restrictive rules proposed by the governor-appointed panel. And again, in a situation where the voters have made their voices clear, they want medical herb. The governor is now taking steps to try to make it so restrictive and really make it difficult for these folks to access it. In fact, he's making it so difficult for the program to even be rolled out in the first place.
Governor Jim Pillen's signature on a new slate of regulations, what some are saying is the death knell of medical marijuana in Nebraska.
The nail in the coffin on a medical program ever getting started to where patients will see real access in this state.
So that's going to affect tons of folks in Nebraska, folks who are just trying to get their medicine. And when you really think about it, are these regulations placed on any other types of medicine? I'm not necessarily sure that they are. Imagine saying that you could only have 1 pharmacy in your area or in your neighborhood and 4 for the entire state. It causes tons of issues, and that led tons of folks to fill the Lincoln hearing room as all of them opposed these regulations.
Dozens of people filled a Lincoln hearing room on Wednesday afternoon, voicing their opposition to Nebraska's medical cannabis regulations that make the state's program one of the most restrictive in the entire country.
These regulations make it effectively not accessible in the state of Nebraska. These violate the spirit and the will of the people.
240,000 Nebraskans took the time to sign a ballot initiative because they support medical cannabis.
Others waving signs
We deserve
described a feeling of betrayal. 71% of Nebraskans voted for medical cannabis last November.
Why bother voting if our government is going to turn around and squash the clear will of the people?
Noticeably absent the commissioners who passed the regulations. The current rules prohibit smoking, vaping, and use of the flower, only allow in-state healthcare practitioners to recommend medical cannabis, and put tight reins on the supply chain, limiting the number of cultivators and the amount of plants they can have.
So this is absolutely crazy, guys, and you guys can see how it can become a massive problem. But thankfully, the folks in Nebraska stood up against it, and also there may be a silver lining because the Nebraska tribe was one of the first in the state to legalize the good herb. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about that in a bit. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL, it works on the bundle and the beans.
Welcome back. If you've watched the news at all recently, you'll know medical marijuana has been a big issue in the state. In 2024, voters approved medical marijuana after years of fighting by advocates mostly parents who say their kids could be saved by the drug. But with the votes in, the battle for medical marijuana only ramped up, with roadblocks in the courts from Nebraska's top politicians and within the commission tasked with regulating it. In this series, The Will of the People, 1011's Jake Lawson walks us through the history and future of medical marijuana in the Cornhusker State.
There will be a day very soon that there will be a parent that will go into the doctor's office and medical cannabis will be an option, and that day will be, I think it'll make all of this worth it.
We vote, we get it, and now they're trying to destroy it.
Years of history to end up here in 2025 with medical marijuana legalized, but advocates still fighting.
Some of our, highest elected officials in this state have spent time and money. I'd like to be clear, some of that taxpayer dollars.
Ridiculous.
In fighting what 71% of people passed.
And that's something that a lot of you guys do not necessarily pay attention to. The taxpayers' money is what's being used to battle what the taxpayers want. I mean, it's crazy. And before you guys go, oh, it just happens in red states, it also happens in blue states. It's a bipartisan issue. It happens among both party lines. Now, that being said, recently we've seen a situation where the Nebraska Attorney General actually called the good herb a poison and said that anyone who buys it from a tribe within the state does so at their own peril. Now, this is not the first time that the Nebraska Attorney General spoke out negatively against legalization, because just a few months ago he did the exact same thing. Have a look.
It is something we have talked about ad nauseum, and on this road to legalization there have been no shortage of detours. In fact, there's still quite a bit of work to do.
Yeah, state lawmakers are now moving forward with an amendment that would lay the groundwork for regulation by the newly formed Nebraska Cannabis Commission, but it is hitting some serious speed bumps with the Attorney General's office. 1011's Matthew Mittleiter breaks down where medical marijuana stands as of tonight.
But today, Attorney General Mike Hildress came out against both, saying they would serve as a loophole of sorts to purchasing cannabis flower.
That, in my view, would supercharge the black market. Is a recreational marijuana bill that has a whole host of negative impacts on the state of Nebraska.
But Senator John Kavanaugh says the law would be a framework for the Cannabis Commission to safely regulate medical marijuana.
Now guys, what I don't get is that a lot of these lawmakers and officials and politicians, they're so scared of the black market. They really are worried about it, and they think that everything they do will just cause the black market to boom. But the truth is, when you guys don't legalize, or you just legalize but overregulate, overtax, oversaturation, all these things, that's what causes the black market to boom. Because a proper regulated recreational market actually causes the black market to dwindle. But on the flip side, it may just lead certain folks to take matters into their own hands. For example, the Omaha tribe of Nebraska, which became the first government in the state to fully legalize the good herb, both for medical and recreational purposes.
Soon, some Nebraskans will be able to buy marijuana in Nebraska. But there's a catch. It'll only be sold by the Omaha tribe and only on native land, about an hour away from Omaha.
The Omaha Tribal Council adopted Title 51 today. KETV News Watch 7's Pete Cudahy spoke with the Attorney General of the tribe in an exclusive on-camera interview about what this means going forward.
Tuesday, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska made history, becoming the first tribe in the state to fully legalize and regulate cannabis.
This has been a priority of the tribe for going on 10 years now.
Title 51 will create a tribal cannabis regulatory commission and legalize the sale of medical cannabis. It will also make it legal for adults 21 and older to purchase and use recreational marijuana, but only on reservation land. Prior tribal cannabis offenses will also be expunged. Attorney General for the tribe, John Cartier, says they're seizing an opportunity to show tribal leadership.
There's a void left intentionally by the Nebraska state in their slow rollout, really dragging their heels with their own Nebraska Cannabis Commission.
A move they call necessary after the reconciliation bill was passed.
So it's really interesting to see that the Omaha tribe is taking matters into their own hands. And what we're seeing is a little bit of a standoff between Nebraska's Attorney General and the Omaha tribe's Attorney General. And things have even gone so far that state officials were hinting at prosecuting people for buying herb on the reservation lands. And that led to the Nebraska tribe to push back.
We begin tonight with what is poised to become a long fight between the state of Nebraska and the Omaha tribe of Nebraska.
Earlier this week, we told you how the tribe felt as though they were being threatened by the state because they created their own medical cannabis commission.
Today, another back and forth from the two sides. Here's some of what the Attorney General had to say in Lincoln.
You are not a licensed dispensary or cultivator. You cannot operate in the medical marijuana world under current state statute. So that would be a violation of state law. And you certainly cannot do a recreational.
The Attorney General for the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska, John Cartier, tells me, first off, they're not talking about recreational marijuana. Secondly, he says Nebraska doesn't get to control how the tribe designs its own licensing and compliance on tribal land. That because Nebraska recognizes medical cannabis and regulates it, those are civil regulatory rules, not criminal prohibitions. The tribe also says the state is threatening to position troopers at the highways in and out of the reservation to Macy, Nebraska.
Anyone who tries to go to the tribal lands to buy marijuana for any purpose does so at their own peril, and I would highly discourage them from doing that.
The tribe responds in this way. What a purchaser does off the reservation is governed by state law, not tribal law, that will make it clear with visible notices and responsible use guidelines. But the tribe also stresses no matter what Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission comes up with in Lincoln, Nebraska voters made it legal for a qualified patient to possess up to 5 ounces of product, which is more than what's been put in the current set of rules.
So you all can see how feisty things are getting between the Nebraska Attorney General and the Omaha tribe. And that also led to further claims of retaliation by the tribe on the part of the Nebraska Attorney General. Have a look.
New tonight, the Omaha tribe claims Nebraska's Attorney General is retaliating against their medical marijuana program.
The tribal attorney general says he received a phone call from the state about an unrelated matter. First Alert 6's Andrew Pfeiffer is live in the studio. Andrew, tell us more about this phone call.
Brian, Aaron, the Omaha tribe says the call was about a tobacco tax compact, a way to share revenue from the state's tobacco sales tax. The negotiations were fairly new between the Omaha tribe and the state of Nebraska. But after that phone call, the Omaha tribe's Attorney General, John Cartier, questions the timing, calling it suspicious at best, considering the tribe is currently in the middle of creating its own cannabis commission.
Certainly retaliation, that's what was said explicitly to me over the phone.
The phone call from the Nebraska Attorney General's office, according to John Cartier, came an hour before the tribe's first Cannabis Commission meeting.
She told me flat out that the Attorney General's office was not going to move forward on our tribal tobacco tax compact because the tribe is going to engage in the medical cannabis industry.
Now guys, just let that sink in, and unsurprisingly, the government is moving like the mafia. They're basically telling the sovereign tribal nation that unless you do this, you're not gonna get this. And again, they're two completely unrelated issues. One is tobacco, one is medical herb. But what the officials are trying to do is bring the two of them together and penalize them because they did one but not the other.
We were promised certain revisions, certain follow-up for weeks, months, until an hour before our commission hearing where they just flat out said they're not going to do it because we're doing medical cannabis.
On Wednesday, the state's attorney general says he would not speak about private conversations publicly, but gave some insight from the state's perspective.
I'm not talking about my private conversation with the council for the tribe, but when we met with the tribal members, what they asked for was a 90% cut of state tax revenue, 90%, which is like $300,000 plus or minus. Now, if you ask them the question, well, what does the state get it for that? The answer is nothing.
Hildreth says the state would not benefit, but Cartier says the state has done other tax compacts and they're only retaliating because of the tribe launching medical marijuana programs.
The Omaha tribe doesn't have a dispensary license, do they? They don't have a cultivator license, do they? It's one question about selling to tribal citizens, but it's a totally another question selling to non-citizens. They don't have the license to do that.
Cartier says they're simply upholding what voters asked for.
So there's going to be a little bit of back and forth between those two for quite some time. But what's really interesting is that, you know the old saying, if you can't get something done through someone else, it's best to just do it yourself. And that's exactly what the Omaha tribe did because they held a meeting to create their own cannabis commission. Have a look.
Of debate and stalled efforts to legalize medical cannabis in Nebraska, the Omaha tribe is moving forward on its own, and it could mean relief for some patients who have waited years for access. Today, tribal leaders convened for their first cannabis commission, taking a major step toward launching the state's first regulated cannabis industry. First Alert 6's Brenna Kiefner has more from this historic meeting.
Here in Macy, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska just hosted its first ever Cannabis Commission meeting. Today's agenda included swearing in members, appointing officers, and reviewing draft rules that could change the cannabis industry throughout the state. 4 commissioners took their oaths, launching the tribe's cannabis regulatory framework. The goal of the commission is to create jobs while ensuring safe and responsible cannabis access.
So that's great. The Omaha tribe is taking steps to roll out its own cannabis commission, and tons of folks will see benefits from that. In fact, over 50 people applied for the tribal cannabis commission. Have a look.
Is slow rolling access to medical cannabis. Another group is fast tracking it. 3 weeks ago, the Omaha Tribe of Nebraska made the decision to venture into the business of medical marijuana. What has the reception been like? Are you getting people that are like, hey, I want to help out here with the Omaha Tribe?
Yeah, overwhelmingly positive feedback. We had over 50 applicants to be on our tribal cannabis commission.
In the next 2 weeks, that list will be narrowed to 5 members of the Tribal Cannabis Commission. And those individuals will begin to craft the rules and regulations of who gets licenses to grow, sell, and dispense medical marijuana on the reservation in Macy, Nebraska, an hour drive north of the metro.
I can tell you right now, I've already had folks who have serious grow operations in other states reach out.
Last fall, more than 70% of Nebraskans legalized possession of up to 5 ounces of medical cannabis with a physician's recommendation. It seems like you're in much better position than the state is.
Absolutely. I will say without a doubt, I 100% believe we're in a way better position, way stronger position. We're going to be willing partners, and we're not trying to hamstring. We're not trying to delay implementation, as I think most people have figured it out at this point. That's really what the Nebraska cannabis medical program looks like at this point.
That's clear for everyone to see, guys. Not just in Nebraska, but also places like Alabama. On paper, they have a medical program, but the truth is they haven't rolled anything out yet, and no one has any access. But all that said, let me know what you guys think about everything that we discussed in today's video. What do you guys think about what's happening over in Nebraska, especially when it comes to the slow medical program rollout? And also, what do you guys think about the Omaha tribe taking matters into their own hands? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, in our next video, you guys may have missed it, but over in New York, they appointed a socialist mayor, and that could mean tons of changes for the cannabis industry, especially considering his Muslim background. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's coming up right now.
I was in the middle of finishing editing the video, and this news update came up. There's always a claw in there somewhere. But go ahead, leave your questions, comments down below, what you think about that. Right? That was our cannabis news, laws, and updates. Now, on Cooking with Cannabis, we have Chef Cody Lindsay. Chef Cody Lindsay cooking with cannabis. Yeah.
Get the eggs in there, you gotta whip some nice air in them. 3/4 cups of flour, a little bit of cinnamon, and this is where the cannabis oil comes into play. We're gonna add 1 milliliter per pancake. It's all about being precise and accurate. So 1 milliliter is 16.2 milligrams of THC. My name is Cody Lindsay. Some of you may know me as the Wellness Soldier. I'm a Canadian veteran, chef, and cannabis recipe creator. And we got nice whole wheat pancakes that you know per pancake has the exact amount of THC that you want/need. Hardly any prep needed, just throw it all in there, easy peasy. Then we're gonna take 1 cup of coconut water. Just let the blender go for about another minute and a half or so. Just trying to show people how to include cannabis in their diet in healthy ways. Because if you're taking cannabis oil as a medicine 6, 7, 8 times a day, a cookie or a brownie isn't going to help that.
Like, does it taste the cannabis?
It's more of an earthy flavor. But yeah, I got released in 2007. I asked to be assessed, and that's when it came up that I had anxiety due to the tours outside of the country. When I got sent to Afghanistan, I got sent there ill-prepared. And my mind was always racing a mile a minute, trying to make sure that I'm fully prepared, trying to make sure that if something happens, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How is this going to play out? What am I going to do? And then when I came home, my brain didn't stop. It was deemed that, yes, I do have operational stress injury, and the medical cannabis is used for that operational stress injury. I enjoy gesting it because it lasts a little bit longer, and it doesn't give you as much as a psychoactive head high. You know, you got your basil, you got your couple of garlics, you throw it in. You got your olive oil, about half a cup. And the great thing about making a pesto is that you don't have to heat it. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to degrade the cannabis? Am I going to degrade the THC? Am I going to degrade or lose properties that I need in order for the medical benefits? Just enough so it binds together, and you're done. How easy is that? You got a beautiful, healthy, cannabis-infused pesto. What are we gonna have with our pesto chicken sandwiches? Well, a nice salad. 1 mil, 2 mil. And again, now I know that there's 16.2 milligrams per milliliter in my salad dressing. Grab your chicken. And you got a nice, beautiful sandwich. Serve, eat well, and be happy. Thank you very much. Thank you. And if you like the recipes that you see here today, we do have cookbooks for sale. It's got everything in there: smoothies, muffins, pancakes, vinaigrettes, chimichurris. Yes, the oil is in with the pesto. Yes.
And the salad dressing?
And the salad dressing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Smell it.
Go ahead, please. Yeah. Yeah.
It smells like real pesto.
Yeah. It's just a more healthier, discreet way to take your cannabis.
Okay. You see, that boy got reason to be cooking with cannabis. I don't need a reason. I want to try it anyway. So leave your questions and your comments down low. Tell me how you feel. That was Cooking with Cannabis with Cody. Chef Cody. Now, on product review. Cannabis product that helps with insomnia.
New research suggests cannabis-based products could help insomnia. A study in the UK monitored insomnia patients for 18 months. It found patients reported taking cannabis-based medical products reported better sleep quality. The patients also reported less anxiety and depression. But more research is needed to see if the products are safe and effective to treat the common sleep condition.
That was short, quick, to the point. Yeah.
Today we're diving into a hot topic.
Tell me how you feel. Yeah. Leave your questions and your comments down low. That was product review. Now, cannabis health and risk. We have health and beauty. Yes, you heard that right. Health and beauty using cannabis. Yes.
Well, could the hottest new beauty secret be marijuana? Now the recreational pot is legal here in California.
There has been an explosion of new products aimed at helping you look and also feel your best. CBS 2's Peter Dowd is here now with a closer look. Peter.
Well, Pat and Rick, forget joints and bongs. Manicures, lotions, and other beauty products infused with cannabis are now in high demand. At Bella Cure's nail salon in Studio City, this pedicure has a special ingredient, cannabis.
It's nice and tingly and it feels great.
These canicures use the legal non-psychoactive element of marijuana called CBD. They won't get you high, but can work to alleviate pain and induce calm.
We thought what better way to help our customers relax than to incorporate it into a mani-pedi service.
Canicures use bath bombs made by Kush Queen. The company makes a variety of products infused with cannabis, including pain relief lotions and shower gels.
It's really just about finding what works for you.
It smells like the tropics, and it actually doesn't smell like weed, does it? No.
And they're not the only ones creating products with CBD. From creams, lip balms, and bubble baths made by the company High Gorgeous.
Cannabis has been a beauty secret for a really long time. It's just that people haven't been talking about it as much until now.
To oral sprays and body lotions made by Be True Organics.
It makes you feel good, plus it has all those antioxidants that help with anti-aging.
To oils, scrubs, and skincare products made by Sana Wellness.
But you want something that protects your skin, treats your skin, and nourishes it all in one.
The beauty world is crazy for cannabis. There's even marijuana makeup at Koreatown Collective.
CBD is going to be the fountain of youth. It helps with rebuilding the collagen in your skin. It helps with reducing your wrinkles.
And now that marijuana is legal in California, get ready to see more cannabis products aimed at helping you look and feel your best.
I really think that cannabis isn't a trend. It's going to be something that's going to stick around for a very long time.
Again, most of these products do not contain THC, so they will not get you high. And before you use them, you should check with your doctor. For more information, including links to the companies mentioned in this story, head to our website, cbsla.com. Back to you.
Okay, that was brought to us by cbsla.com. Y'all go check them out. Like, subscribe, go on their page. Let them know why
Cannabis safe to use.
Okay, leave your questions or your comments down low. Did you know, ladies, did you know? It don't get you high, so don't. It's the CBD portion. It's not the THC. But that I didn't know that. That's cool. That's awesome. That was Cannabis Health and Risk. How they're using cannabis, CBD cannabis, for health and beauty. You know, I got to sign up for that treatment too. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And on cannabis, culture and history, we have Virginia marijuana dispensary. What we know, what's next, and what's changing.
Legalized marijuana is coming to the Commonwealth of Virginia, years after it was legalized in Maryland, and years after a somewhat hazy market in D.C. started. The governor of Virginia and the legislature are finalizing details of exactly when it will become legal, but for more context, we want to know why now and what to expect. How quickly do you expect Virginia consumers to catch on?
The next day.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what history shows?
That's what history shows. So
there's pent-up demand.
100% there's pent-up demand.
How many plants are you growing at any given time?
Somewhere between 15 to 20,000.
Wow.
Right now we believe that there's a $1.5 billion illicit market.
But Caroline, let's be honest. Even for folks in Virginia, Northern Virginia, marijuana is not exactly hard to get. In very broad strokes, what does this do for adults in Virginia?
This would open up a legal recreational marketplace for adults in the Commonwealth to go into a corner store that's been licensed, and they'll be able to purchase marijuana, buy the flower, buy the edible or different types of products that has been approved by the state, and you'll be able to use it recreationally in your home.
Do you think there's still a stigma?
Absolutely, there's still a stigma. We're still living at a time in the United States and even in our little tri-state region where people are getting locked up for a plant that other folks are making millions of dollars on. I think what folks don't realize is these dispensaries aren't in dark corners. They're right there on your main streets.
Today, a group of state lawmakers met to outline changes to the cannabis retail market that Virginia has been working to establish for years. Previous plans have been struck down by the Republican governor.
Now, with a Democrat on her way into the governor's mansion, the green business is getting a green light.
Later this year or early next, Virginia will become the 25th state in this nation to legalize cannabis for recreational use. The federal government says in 2024, 61.5 million people used marijuana in this country. This is no longer the stuff of deals on the corner or, hey, I know a guy. It's a huge business. And for more context, we wanted to take a look inside. This is For More Context, your seat in the News 4 newsroom for a conversation about how we check facts, fight for answers, break stories, and hold each other accountable. When it comes to legalizing adult use of marijuana in Virginia, how long have they been trying to make this happen?
This has been going on for several years. I mean, Virginia has done this with a lot of different things. I don't know the best way to say that. Virginia has done this a lot. They kind of watch and see what happens in other states, who's doing well, who's not doing well. It's a cautious approach. It's worked sometimes, it hasn't worked others.
So what do you think it is, just the difference between what we experience in Northern Virginia and the rest of the Commonwealth?
I think maybe. I mean, look, politically, there were a couple of hang-ups. You had a Republican governor in there for 4 years who had absolutely no interest in.
Yeah, and what was his opposition?
Right, so Youngkin, look, you can say what you want to about Glenn Youngkin. You can agree or disagree with his policies. I feel like the guy was always pretty honest to who he actually was. And he said pretty early on that he had no interest in marijuana from his own moral, ethical standpoint. But those were the concerns that Youngkin cited and the reason that he vetoed the bill that passed the General Assembly multiple times.
So Maryland and Washington, D.C. definitely got a jump on Virginia as far as medical cannabis goes, and for Maryland as far as adult use cannabis. I think Virginia took a little bit longer because they have a very diverse population.
Caroline Phillips is the owner of DC's National Cannabis Festival and an advocate for cannabis businesses in the DMV. But Caroline, let's be honest, even for folks in Virginia, Northern Virginia, marijuana is not exactly hard to get. With markets sort of whatever we call DC's and Maryland's adult use market, is it really going to change anything that now Virginians can just stay closer to home and get this?
I think that for adults in Virginia and also DC and Maryland, we will start to see a shift in shopping habits. People are looking for convenience, they're looking for good prices, and they're looking for variety.
What about prices? Do you think, I mean, look, just with more availability, do you think this will bring prices down?
I think that consumers are sure hoping it will bring prices down. And for consumers, more access is probably good news. For all of those hardworking dispensary owners, they're probably watching right now and wondering, how is this going to impact my bottom line? But I'm hoping, and I know that advocates, business owners, and consumers are hoping that more access to cannabis will mean more variety of products, ultimately better pricing for everyone, and more revenue flowing through states.
So as we're speaking, the legislature is sort of finalizing their debate, and I think there's no expectation that Governor Spanberger won't sign this.
This will pass.
Right, and it will become law. The question is sort of when the market opens up, right?
Right.
And sort of what, in very broad strokes, what does this do for adults in Virginia?
Right, so think of Colorado, think of all of the other states that have legalized marijuana over the last several years. That this would open up a legal recreational marketplace for adults in the Commonwealth to go into a corner store that's been licensed, and they'll be able to purchase marijuana, buy the flower, buy the edible or different types of products that has been approved by the state, and you'll be able to use it recreationally in your home or however you see it.
And how limited is it, if you know? I mean, are we going to see a marijuana store on every corner in every town in Virginia?
So they're built into the law. There are some restrictions about where a recreational store could pop up.
Yeah.
There are also restrictions on how close those stores could be together. The idea here is that you don't want a bunch of stores in the same area for a whole host of reasons. It's probably not great for those businesses, and it could be seen as not being that great for that neighborhood. You can't have them within, so much mileage of a school and other churches and places like that. So there are regulations in place about how close they can be to churches and schools and daycares and things like that. They're not going to be on every corner, but I think over the next 5 to 6 years, it's going to be pretty commonplace to see them most places in the Commonwealth.
The financial argument, did it ever hold water with him or anyone else that opposed this? Because proponents of this say, for Virginia, this is hundreds of millions in tax revenue a year.
And opponents would say, that never really pans out. I think we're at a very interesting time in Virginia financially. I mean, this has been an incredibly strong economic market in Virginia for really the last decade. And now federal job cuts, housing market getting a little bit tougher. A lot of factors are starting to play into a picture. You're starting to paint a picture of, Virginia's financial outlook, at least maybe in the next 12, 18 months, isn't as strong as it traditionally has been.
It doesn't seem like there is anyone who is going to make this the hill that they fight on till their dying breath. The opposition seems to have not completely evaporated, but it's not real loud.
It's not real loud, and it'd be a lost cause anyway. This is happening. It is going to bring in a lot of new money for Virginia. The question is, how much money is it going to bring in, and how will Virginia be able to level the playing field? Will this be a situation where the big mega corporations who've been investing in the medicinal side of the business are going to take over and monopolize the market? Or will we actually have a legitimate path for a small business owner to get in the game, whether they want to be involved in the cultivation of the crop or the sale of it?
Look, small business, but also people who have been impacted by the war on marijuana that's gone on for decades. There are carve-outs for both of those in Virginia's law. Do you think it matters?
I think it matters tremendously, but it remains to be seen how well that works in practice. You've got to have a lot of coin to get in this game. And if you're a major corporation that's been investing in this, that has investors anyway, you can pay those licensing fees without blinking. Somebody who, served a couple of years for possession in the 90s, do they have $500,000 lying around to get this business started? Is somebody going to give them that loan? I hope so. If that's a path that they want to pursue, we hope that there's equal access to this new business, this new marketplace. We'll see if it works.
What do you think this does to the illicit market? I think politicians want us to believe that the more you have a regulated market, the illicit market starts to go away. Any sense of whether that's true?
Well, research does show that regulating cannabis, just like regulating other adult-only products, does make for a safer community. So I think that is definitely true. And I think as people become more comfortable with the idea of going into a dispensary, as the stigma that has followed this plant around for so long starts to dissipate, we will see people more naturally starting to go to the businesses in their neighborhoods where they're able to build relationships with store owners and bud tenders alike.
Do you think there's still a stigma?
Absolutely, there's still a stigma. We're still living at a time in the United States and even in our little tri-state region where people are getting locked up for a plant that other folks are making millions of dollars on.
How, in your mind, do we do right by maybe some of the wrongs or the overreach that the war on drugs committed?
I think one of the most important things that legislators can do when they're considering starting a regulated cannabis market in their state or their municipality is focusing on how we can ensure that there are opportunities for all community members to take part, especially those who are most impacted by the war on drugs. We've seen this in Maryland, we've seen it in Virginia, and we've seen it in Washington, D.C., where social equity licenses are being made available to folks who may otherwise not have an opportunity to participate in this new economy.
And to be clear, what we're talking about, a marijuana conviction in your past should not prohibit you from becoming part of this legal market. Is that right?
Exactly. If you have received a cannabis conviction in the past, that should not prevent you from being able to enter this legal market.
How many plants are you growing at any given time?
Somewhere between 15 to 20,000.
Wow. Trent Wolevec is the strategy director for Jushi Holdings, the company behind Beyond Hello, the medical dispensary in Northern Virginia. He showed us around their massive facility in Manassas, where they're already expanding. for the possibility of recreational use.
So everything I grow
Got
in
it.
this facility stays in this facility,
Got it.
gets tracked and traced in this facility, gets put into a final product in this facility, and then sold to the customer. And I know exactly where every single gram of product ends up at. The other one is, from a public health and safety perspective, those plants get put into a batch, and they get sent out for independent third-party testing. If there's some negative reaction for a patient, we can trace it all the way back through the workflow to where it originated.
Got it.
Yeah, I like to tell people that I could talk till I'm blue in the face about everything we do here, but until you come feel it and experience it, it doesn't do it justice. We're sitting in a 100,000 square foot building that was dirt 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We've spent $150 million developing not only this facility, but 5 other retail stores across Northern Virginia.
And so when you see this, what are you excited about as you look to that?
Yeah, look, it's the continued normalization of cannabis.
Yeah.
As somebody who's been in cannabis for 16 years and seen it go from 0 states for medical to 40 states now, and we've seen 24 states transition from medical to adult use. This one will be the 25th. So it marks a quarter of our, half of our states will have adult use programs in place. But most importantly, it's going to be the first state in the Southeast to have cannabis available to anybody over the age of 21.
How quickly do you expect Virginia consumers to catch on?
The next day.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what history shows?
That's what history shows. So
there's pent-up demand.
100% there's pent-up demand. And so our problem is not going to be demand on day one of adult use sales in Virginia. Our problem is going to be supply.
You have to make everything you sell?
Yes, so everything in this facility is grown here in Virginia, processed here in Virginia, manufactured here in Virginia, packaged here in Virginia, and sold in Virginia.
What do you think surprises people when they see this for the first time?
I think here it's the understanding of that this is an agricultural crop. We don't just flip a machine on and produce widgets. We have a life cycle of a plant that we have to care and maintain for from the beginning.
And again, for people who don't know, the flower is what turns into what people use.
Yes, so on the flower, that's where you have the trichomes, and the trichomes are where they have all the cannabinoids and the terpenes, which is what has the psychoactive effect and the entourage effect, taste, smell, feel, for different strains.
Sure.
Based on whatever outcome you want to have.
What makes that better than the next guy?
So it's all preference of a consumer, right? Some people like an IPA.
Yeah.
Some people like a lager. Some people like a stout. Some people like, a fruity aroma.
Yeah.
Some people like an earthy aroma. Some people like, a 30% THC flower, which is like taking a shot of liquor.
Cannabis world, none of that is by accident.
Zero.
You know when that plant started what it likely was going to give you at the end.
I can be within a 5 to 10% range of knowing exactly what this plant will produce from a weight perspective, from a cannabinoid perspective, from a terpene perspective.
For Virginians who don't understand, this is a huge business.
Yes.
On the economic side, what's the plus for Virginia?
Yeah, so right now we believe that there's a $1.5 billion illicit market.
Wow.
We got some chem dogs in the book right here.
Yep, perfect.
You got them in this bag. I'll be happy to open them up for you.
So what we do is, in order to keep the integrity of the product as we run through the process, so we remove all the oxygen and shoot it with nitrogen so that it stays fresh. Woo! So you can come smell it. But this is the A bud.
Oh, Jesus.
And Chem Dog. So Chem Dog's a very earthy, gassy.
Sort of sweaty.
Big hitter. So very high THC, high terpenes. It's one of our better strains. And so, yeah, you can smell it. So, here, I'll grab a good bud, but most of them will be about this size.
Wow.
And so, again, trimmed, manicured, processed. You get that big, good, earthy, stinky smell. That's the terpenes.
Got it.
This is an indica, so it'll get you a little bit more of a body high.
Got it.
And so we have sativas as well, which are a little bit more of a head high, a little more lift. And so, we continue to learn about the entourage effect of the product. And, this one, like I said, big tester, big stinky. It's a legacy strain.
There are a lot of people who are listen to what you just said, and they won't understand a word of it.
Yep.
And so how do you change that person from a, I don't know anything, to, all right, I'm at least willing to step in the store?
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, we do a lot of business through our e-commerce platform. We have a app on the phone.
Right.
And so a lot of that education starts there. It's just how the consumers behave in general, pretty much about anything these days. And so they're able to go online, visit our website, see what the product is that we have, learn about the product, educate themselves. But also when you come into the store, we have pharmacist techs that are able to educate, talk you through.
You're okay with a new customer, someone who's never tried this before?
Well, absolutely.
People know what it is to go to an ABC store, and you likely know exactly where you're walking to in that space. What's your advice to someone who's never been in before? I mean,
well, first of all,
and maybe intimidated by the process.
Well, I can absolutely understand that. I was talking to a family member of mine recently who wanted to visit a dispensary in Arlington for some medicine and had a lot of questions for me. And I think what folks don't realize is these dispensaries aren't in dark corners. They're right there on your main streets. They're beautifully designed stores with some of the most educated staff that you can find who can guide you through your cannabis journey. So whether you're going in to make a purchase or just to satisfy your curiosity, I encourage you to not be too intimidated. Go and check out the new business owner on your block. You might be surprised. You might come away having learned something.
There is, of course, still concern about the effects of marijuana and especially some of its use by young people. News 4 recently spoke with doctors at Children's National Hospital here in D.C. about a growing number of teens, some children as young as 11, showing up at the hospital addicted to marijuana. If you like this kind of context, and we hope you do, we'd love for you to check out more of it at NBC Washington's YouTube page. Like it, subscribe to it, tell us what you think in the comments. In the meantime, I'm Ted Oberg from News 4 IT, and I'll be here working for you.
That's pretty cool over there in Virginia. They keeping it wacky over there. They got their structure in order. Things are looking like they're ready to take of all these legalization changes and rules. Hey man, I just want Florida to get with the program. But as you see, like DeSantis on the last update on Florida is getting to the point where he can't even stop it. So let's hope that all things come together so we can have a very irie day every day. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to song of the day. And Don't Yes by my Wacky band. Okay? I'm gonna really try to start getting some guests in. The platform right now is pretty much where it's at right now, so got the hang of this stuff now, so we got the format in order, so now we can really start to put the legwork of getting people in. And we want to thank Sterling Empire LLC and Sterling Graphics Custom Art and Design for helping us get to where we at right now. So, song of the day, Touch the Sky by my Wacky band. Wacky Leaf 420 Anthem.
Yeah, Wacky leaves in the breeze, baby. Wacky smoke us, we outside. It's 420 somewhere. Yeah. It's 420, set your soul on cruise. Clouds slow dance while we light the fuse. Touch the sky, flow with me. We don't cough love, we smoke like a chimney. Wacky leaves on my teeth, high ceiling. What a movement, feel that confidence. Touch the tip and the world feels right. It's a wacky night, roll the moonlight. Roll it up easy, breathing easy. Feeling like silk when the baseline seeps in. Cream in the sky and the stars start peeking. Pathway glow when the third eye speaking. Wacky smoke us, family tree. Colors on the leaf like a canopy. Legos to LA, love the energy. Past the peace, no enemies. Munchies on 10 with the lemon squeeze. Blue flame tip with the turps and teas. Wacky t-shirts got the drip on freeze. With a movement, let the spirit breathe. Inhale hope, exhale stress. One more pull for the self-express. We don't flex, now we bless. That high excellence. It's 420, set your soul on cruise. Clouds slow dance while we light the fuses. Touch the sky and flow with me. We don't cough love, we smoke like a chimney. Wacky leaves on my teeth, that excellence. With a movement, feel that confidence. Touch the tip and the world feels right. It's a wacky night, roll the moonlight. Harmony humming, I'm humbly higher. Cutter the flame, little lover of fire. Cherry so pretty, that ruby attire. Puff, puff, pass, we a people's choir. Peaches and cream in the midnight mist. Stick to the script with a peppermint twist. Hit after hit like a classic hit list. 420 kiss, can't miss, we bliss. Snack pack stack for the munchie ray. Couch cloud surf with the serenade. Slow jam sway with the lemonade. Saturday cool in the shade we made. Color in the seams of the wacky scene. Close speak loud like a megaphone dream. Way the movement on a winning team. Glow so clean when the leaves all gleam. Lay back baby, let time unwind. Green light shimmer on the borderline. Heartbeat sing with the bass and shine. Every breath painting the sky divine. It's 420, woo, set your soul on cruise. Clouds slow dance while we light the fuses. Touch the sky, flow with me. We don't cough love, we smoke like a chimney. Wacky leaves on my teeth, that excellent. Where the movement, feel that confidence. Touch the tip and the world feels right. It's a wacky night, roll the moonlight. Wacky, wacky, where the movement, crowd, excellence. Touch the sky, all smoke rings halo. Ground so fly, medicinal melody, mellow mind. Better days bloom when the roots align. Lift up love, leave hate behind. Share that peace in the dotted line. No rush, slow hush, breathing grace. Community first in a common space. So open the window, kiss the night air. We all different, but the vibe we share. If it's legal where you are, roll out. Keep it safe, keep it smart, keep it bright. We just art in the dark with a spark so kind. Wacky leaves put the love in design. It's 420, woo, set your soul on cruise. Clouds slow dance while we light the fuses. Touch the sky, flow with me. We don't cough love, we smoke like a chimney. Wacky leaves on my teeth, that excellent. Where the movement, feel that confidence. Touch the tip and the world feels right. It's a wacky night, roll the moonlight. Wacky smoke up, where the movement. Sky lover, high excellence. Wacky leaf, good night. Oh, 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 oh.
Yeah, it's 420 somewhere. All right, I know y'all enjoy that. That's one of my favorite ones on the playlist. Look out for the new playlist coming out. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all enjoying the Wacky Leaf music playlist is at 1.3 now. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to the playlist, share the playlist. Make sure everybody bump that Wacky Leaf cannabis tune. You know, we got the Munchie Magic for the Munchie heads. We got the 420 for the 420 heads. Come on, man. We got the Lick, Stick, Spark. Come on now. We got the Wacky Christmas. We got it all. And tune in for more to come by my Wacky band. You know, we still got more and more days and stuff and more ideas. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, everybody, I want you to leave your comments and questions down low about everything we talked today. All these news updates we got today, from Tennessee to Chicago to LA. So yeah, California, Cali baby. So yeah. Well, how do you feel about cooking what we had on Cooking with Cannabis with Chef Cody? All All right, so y'all go ahead, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me, my wacky smokers. Thank you for the love. One time for